happening, people? I hope you are doing well on this wonderful Friday midday vibes. You know what it is, man. Jum'a Mubarak. Happy Friday to everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Let me know what your day has been like thus far, guys. Let me know. Of course, it's Friday, so it means it's nearly Saturday, which it basically means it's match day for Manchester United with a 12:30 kickoff tomorrow. I hate 12:30 kickoffs, by the way, guys. I absolutely hate it. I don't know why. I just feel like whenever we play at 12:30, it's just dead. Is just dead. But hopefully tomorrow United can get 3 points against Brighton. It's not going to be an easy one. I'm not going to lie, it's not going to be an easy one, but obviously we're going to talk about that. Big up to everyone. Like I said, be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe. Let me know what you've been up to so far. It's 2:30 p.m. here in the UK. So the day's just about, like, the day's starting. Just about. Like, I ain't done much, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I ain't done much today so far. Friday, you know, Friday rituals. If you're Muslim, you know, there's some Friday rituals that you do in the morning before dhuhr time. So I did them stuff, but other than that, it's just vibing. It's just vibing, getting ready for the stream and all of that kind of stuff. Let me know what you've been up to thus far. Let me know what your plans are for the day. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about. Manchester United, don't give us a quiet day. I think yesterday was actually a quiet day. But other than that, it seems like Ugarte stuff are finally moving. The pieces are moving. The chess pieces are moving. And Man United might really have their guy in soon. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about another surprise incoming, Sekou Kone, Mali midfielder. And I know people are saying, oh, you guys didn't know anything about him before the news came out, blah, 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 blah. Don't do that, guys. Don't be party poopers. Don't be party poopers. It's very easy if you don't know about someone to go and research them and have an opinion on them. It's as simple as that. But I did watch him in the under-20s World Cup because I do follow a lot of African countries, under-17, under-20, AFCON, etc. But he wasn't, I think he was too young for AFCON, for the under-17s when I was watching that. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about outgoings. We're going to talk about Manchester United's transfer outgoings, because I don't think we're talking about it a lot. Man United have made over £75 million in sales so far. And to some people, that might sound like a little bit. But to United, that is absolutely a lot. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, obviously, Manuel Ugarte, some Jadon Sancho talk, because there's some news resurfacing about Juventus. But I'm more intrigued about what Erik said about him in the press conference yesterday. So we're going to talk about that. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up DJ says, I bought a Kobe jersey. I'd be pissed if they changed his number this season. I hope Kobe never changes his number. You know how, like, Trent wears 66, and people just like, and Balotelli used to wear what, 45? Donnarumma wears 99. I hope Kobe just keeps a very unusual number for the rest of his career, because then I could just associate that number with him forever. How do you rate Ugarte? We're going to talk about that. Yo, this girl's jersey collection is wild. You know, what the hell? Listen, this jersey is one of my favorite jerseys from 2 years ago. It's an Ajax jersey, but it's a special one because if you guys can see here on the emblem, am I going the right way? There you go. If you can see there, just under the emblem, this is a collaboration that they did with Daily Paper, who's a Dutch-owned brand, and I know them. Shout out to Jefferson, shout out to Hussein, the creators, and there's another guy that's the creators of Daily Paper. If you lot watch like streams like UV, you see that I'm always wearing Daily Paper all the time. So I got this jersey because I really liked it, because it was a collaboration with Daily Paper, and they did the collaboration with Ajax. They're from Amsterdam. They're Dutch people. So this was nice. And I hope they do more collaborations with football teams. I've asked them to do a collaboration with United because they work all the time with Adidas. So let's just hope they take my advice. But my kit collection is growing. That's all I have to say. Maybe one day I could do a video. I'm babysitting my nephew and 2 nieces. Have you in the background? Big up. I don't enjoy babysitting. I can't lie. I got a lot of nieces and nephews, guys. I got 11 in total. And if they are like of a certain age, like 8, 9, 10 and above, I can babysit them. But if you're telling me like when they're 3 years old, 2 years old, and they're smashing up my yard and all of that stuff, and they might snatch the TV off the table and all of that kind of stuff, I can't babysit. The best thing about having nieces and nephews, guys, is you can give them back at the end of the day. When you're tired and you just want to go to sleep, you can give them back to their parents. 75 million in sales. No way. No, actually, United have made 75 million in sales, or near enough to 75 million in sales. You know what? Let's start with that. let's actually start with that. I was going to start with actual outgoings, but this technically is an outgoing. If we were to tally up, Manchester United have actually made 76.2 million in sales, and that is not including the recent sale of Maxi Oyedele. Now, I do feel like the Maxi Oyedele leaving is definitely somehow linked. I think it's definitely linked to the arrival of Sekou Kone. I think maybe Manchester United, and we'll get to it when we speak about Sekou Kone a bit, but maybe Manchester United felt like the talent in a player like Kone was a lot more advanced than Oyedele. So they chose to sell him. He went to Poland. So this price is actually excluded him. I think they sold him for like £1.2 million. So technically, Man United have made about 75 million in sales. So that's coming from a combination of, but it's actually over. This is actually inflated because it's including add-ons. It's including add-ons. And you know what? Why can't, now that I think about it, why can't we report sales with add-ons in the same way that the media reports Manchester United's arrivals with add-ons? When I watch Sky Sports, when I listen to podcasts, etc., when they talk about Lenny Euro, they mention his transfer fee with add-ons. So why can't I do that with sales? You know what? I'm going to do that. So 75 million, 77.5 million, if you want to say sales with add-ons. Obviously, Mason Greenwood is the biggest one out of all of them, followed by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. 15 million for Aaron Wan-Bissaka is crazy, given the fact that United got just slightly less. Managed to get Mazraoui for just about slightly less. So shout out to Man United's negotiation team. But Donny van der Beek is 12 million. But obviously, we know that the base fee, ridiculous, is 500,000. But with a lot of add-ons, it comes to 12 million. Willy Cambuala is about 9 million. Alvaro Fernandez and Facundo Palestra about 5 million. Will Fish went for 2 million a few days ago. And then Maxi Oyedele as well. So many Man United academy players have departed in the last year or two. And I think Manchester United are finally realizing that you don't always get a first team product in an academy player. And that's absolutely okay. I think that's absolutely okay. I think the most important thing is when you do not identify a first team route for an academy player is to move them on. Because we've seen younger players, we've seen academy players in the past at Manchester United. I don't want to say rot, but wait around for their moment and never really get it. You look at Gomez, for example. You look at Shola Shortire, who I watched him, I think, maybe once or twice in Man United's senior team, and I definitely knew that he was never going to be able to play in the first team. I felt like that from the first time I watched him play in the first team. But since then, it kind of just dragged out. He stayed at Manchester United way past the time that he should have. Another player I can think of is Taith Chung. Obviously, he's at Birmingham City now. But before that, he spent so much time at Manchester United when it was clear that there wasn't a first team path route for him. And there's nothing wrong, can I say, with someone not being good enough for Man United's first team. There's nothing wrong. It's just because you're not good enough for Man United's first team doesn't mean that you're not good enough to play first team football somewhere. I had a friend that played in Chelsea's academy, Cobham product, played with the likes of Mount, what's his name, Tomori, Loftus-Cheek, Tammy Abraham, Chalobah, etc. He never got into Chelsea's first team, but he's playing first team football elsewhere in the world. So you're not always, Chung's at Luton, my bad. My bad. I just remember that. Oh no, because he went on loan. I think he went on loan to Birmingham City before he went to Luton. Any Man United poster or banner on your wall on the near future? I literally got a Van der Sar. Can't you see that Van der Sar thing right there? Can you guys not see it? Do I need to zoom in a little bit? That is Van der Sar's. It says Edwin Van der Sar on it. It says Man United versus Chelsea 1-1. It's got the goal scorers. And then it says Champions League final. It's got a picture of him saving Anelka's penalty, and then followed by what the commentator said. When the commentator was like, "It's red in Russia." That's what it says there. Over there as well. Do I have shit? I got Mary Earps, but she left. And obviously you can't see it right now. The bookshelf. I got Roy Keane book. I got a Rio Ferdinand book. I got a lot of United stuff. But I'm a football fan, so I have football stuff as well. These are all signed shirts. If I get a signed Man United shirt, I'll hang that shit up as well. But yeah, just on the topic of sales, Manchester United, I think, now are realizing with their academy that there's not always a first team path route for every single player. And that's okay. If Man United are able to sell, Man United are able to offload and get relatively decent prices for players, then they should go ahead and do it. And on that topic, just quickly, as I mentioned, Maxio Oladeli has completed a permanent move to Legia Warsaw. Now, this is a team in Poland. At first, I thought, why is he going Poland? And then someone brought it up to me the other day on a stream that he's half Polish. So it makes sense. But also, it's just where you can get first team football. It's just where you can get first team football. Now, I saw this and I just thought, bro, what the hell? I don't know if you guys saw it. But Anthony Alanga left this comment on Maxi Oyedeli's Instagram post of him like saying thank you to the club. He posted a lot of like young pictures of him when he was a kid. Obviously, he spent I think 12 years at Man United's academy, or like 10 years or something like that. And then Anthony Alanga posted this. Do you know what this is, guys? This is, if I'm not wrong, this is basically the Matrix. This is the Matrix when you dodge a bullet. I don't know what the hell Anthony Alanga is insinuating, but he sounds salty. He sounds salty. And guys, by the way, I thought it was fake. I thought it was fake. I had to go on Instagram and go and find Maxi Oyedeli's Instagram and check to see if it was real, and it was real. And you know what was so jokes? I had to go because United fans were just dragging. I don't think Anthony Alanga really thought it through, because they were dragging him in the comments underneath, like under the response. And this is what I don't get, because everyone else replying, you know, ex-Man United players, current Man United players, all wishing him luck, everything. And then this got 250 replies. Everyone saying, you're salty, you're bitter, you're this, you're that. Listen, it's just dead. Anthony Alanga, bro, all due respect, like I like the vibes that, like the videos that I see of him in the Forest training room and all of that, the vibes. But bro, you had a decent amount of chances at Man United. You probably had more chances at Man United than you should have. Let's be real. You had more chances than you should have. Alanga got beef with Erik ten Hag, I think. Maybe because Erik ten Hag just didn't see him in the plan. Maybe that's it. What's Alanga on about? That's so cringe. Honestly, it's salty. It's given salty. Mina, who do you think should be centre back partnership? We'll get to it. Towards the end of the stream. We're going to do a preview for the Brighton game, so we'll talk about that. More than Diallo, 100%. He got more chances than Diallo. And you know what? Saved Alanga? I will be honest. What gave Alanga them chances was Ralf Rangnick. If it wasn't for Ralf Rangnick, Alanga would have been rotting on the bench. That period of Ralf Rangnick, nobody really knew their role in the team. And Ralf Rangnick clearly just preferred pacey wingers, quick wingers that could run in behind. And that's why Alanga got his chances. But to go and comment this, I just find this weird, innit? I find it very unusual as a senior player, as an experienced player, as someone who maybe academy players might look up to. You just hear... Anyways, it is what it is. Let's actually get to Manchester United talk. And talk about the newest signing, the Here We Go. I know people are going to say, Minna, you're clickbaiting on your channel. No, I'm not. I put Here We Go in the thumbnail because Manchester United got a Here We Go. It might not be Manuel Ugarte, but they have a Here We Go. And the Here We Go is Manchester United obviously have agreed to sign a Malian talent. Listen, I've been saying for ages, when people talk about Manchester United or just European teams making moves for young products and young players in South America, etc., I've always been saying that Manchester United should start looking at the African market. The African market is a market untouched, and it's not a market untouched, but it's untouched by like the big European teams. Now, this for me has Christopher Vivell written all over it, because one thing that Christopher Vivell did when he was at RB Salzburg is sign young African talents. Exhibit A, Mohamed Kamara, Exhibit A. That is probably one person I can think of who's of Malian descent that he signed, and there's probably lots others as well. Who obviously he's gone on now. I think he's playing in the Qatari league, which I don't get why, but he was a great talent. Now, I remember watching the under-17s AFCON. And I remember seeing so much talent, not just in Mali, but Senegal, etc. And that's when that opened my eyes up. And I was like, I hope Man United have scouts. This was about 18 months ago, I think, when the under-17s AFCON happened. I was just thinking, I hope Man United have academy scouts there. Now, when you look at the example of what's it called, Maxi Oyedele leaving Manchester United, maybe this is a I don't want to say a like-for-like swap, because they are not the same in terms of ability, but in terms of one player freeing up a spot in the academy to bring in another academy product. Now, what do we know about Kone? We know that as soon as he gets a Man United number, I will be buying that shirt. I will be, and actually, I shouldn't buy his shirt, guys, because you lot know I'm cursed when it comes to buying names on the back of my Man United shirts. But listen, I'm excited because of not just his talent, but finally, young African players could look at Manchester United as a possible destination to start their career. Historically, there's a lot of African academies, guys, in especially West and North Africa. I think those are pretty much the hubs for African football, especially if you follow football in general in Africa. You know that North Africa tend to dominate the African league. And then when it comes to the teams that have relationships with European clubs, it tends to be either North Africans, or over the past 10 years, it's been dominated by West Africans, and rightfully so. But historically, Manchester United were not really making moves like that. And when I say like that, this guy is not a senior player. He's an academy product. Not only that, Manchester United this is the third player that they've brought for the academy this transfer window. What did they say? What did what did Sir Jim Ratcliffe say when he came in? It wasn't just about the first team. It was also about the academy. It's about finding a structure for the academy that can produce the best talents. Because Man United probably don't want to continue going and buying a player when he's 22, 23 and paying 30, 40, 50 million. Why don't you just pay 1 million for an 18-year-old and turn him into a great talent? Which for me is a great kind of path to have for academy players. Now, what do we know about Kone? What do we know about him? We know he's a defensive midfielder, 6 foot tall, long legs. We know that it's a position that Manchester United have been looking to strengthen quite a lot under Erik ten Hag. Now, one thing I liked about this piece that I'm reading on The Athletic is that it is very clear that Manchester United are aware of the cultural differences between Mali and England. And Manchester United are conscious of him having that huge change in culture, in lifestyle, in environment at such a young age, that they plan to embed him slowly into the academy before he eventually gets a possible, move into the first team. And I like that. I like that. Now, obviously, probably because he's 18, and I'm thinking of from a logistical perspective, he cannot probably move here with his family. He probably will not move here with his family until he can bring his family over, whether it's his mother, his father, etc., etc. So Manchester United are already thinking about how that will impact his integration into the academy. So for once, Manchester United clearly have not just the right people in the senior places, but they got the right people even below that. And reportedly, Manchester United, a source at Manchester United described this particular deal as a scout-led signing by Christopher Vivell, who was understood to have played a huge role in bringing him to the club as well as constructing his progression plan. So not only have they kind of had a plan for how they're going to embed him into society here and get him to kind of adapt from life in Mali to life in England, but also his progression plan. Like I saw with Mazraoui, guys, by the way. Mazraoui is a senior player. He's 25, 26. He's a senior player. But when Man United first signed him, do you know what they did? They brought a local community mosque leader to show him around Manchester, to show him like where he can buy halal food from, where he can buy halal meat from, where he can, find local mosques, go to local mosques for like Friday prayer, etc., etc. They brought in a community leader of his faith to try and make him feel a little bit more comfortable. So they're doing this for senior players as well, as well as, so this is not something new. It's not something, outrageous. And here, as mentioned, it's not true. We did the same for Garnacho, Fernandez, etc. during COVID. I think during COVID, it was a lot more difficult because people couldn't come with their family. That's what I'm trying to explain. I think people couldn't come with their family because of the pandemic. Right now, Sekou Kone can probably not bring his family over just yet because of visa regulations and all of that kind of stuff. He has to come and get settled in. So the best thing they can do is try and create a progression plan to get him embedded into stuff. I think that's the norm at all clubs at top level. No, not all the time. Not all the time. It wasn't all the time. It's over the last couple of years. I think United have become a lot more culturally. They've become a lot more culturally focused in terms of understanding that people have different needs and different requirements and all of that kind of stuff, where they're trying to see life from each perspective of players. Because at the end of the day, imagine having like, I can't imagine how many players are in Manchester United from the under 9s or under 11s all the way up until senior team. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people, which requires a lot of personal touch. And it's a lot of cultural awareness. There you go. Like Ahmed says, a lot of cultural awareness is very, very important. And also, can I just say, the reason why I'm highlighting this for Sekou Kone is because Manchester United have never really went and brought a young player from Africa, right? If I'm not wrong, Manchester United in recent years, not like we were signing talents in Europe. We were signing people like Amad Diallo, but Amad Diallo was already in Italy. We were signing Hannibal Mejbri. He was already in France. We were signing a lot of people who were already in Europe. So they've adapted to European society. This is my whole point. Now Manchester United are taking a different approach, where had Sekou Kone gone to somewhere like Leipzig or Salzburg or Ajax or anywhere in Europe and had been there for 2-3 years and then Man United brought him, it would be different. I think their approach would be different because they're not bringing him straight from Mali to Manchester. And I hope that point is landing. It's difficult for a kid to move to another country, especially without family, 100%, in a country where he probably won't know the language, that probably won't know any people. I think that's most important. Jemba. That was like 20 years ago, bro. How long ago was Jemba? How long was that? Was ages ago. That was absolutely ages ago. And by the way, Man United were not the only team interested in him. And this is why I say Man United's academy approach, or Man United's approach to signing young talents. Remember, what did Sir Jim Ratcliffe say in his first ever interview? Sir Jim Ratcliffe said in his first ever interview, it's not about signing the current superstar. It's about finding the next superstar and developing them and creating them into a Man United player. Man United were not the only team into him. Chelsea, Barca, Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Monaco, and Juve all had shown interest in signing Sekou Kone, but the player chose Manchester United as that was his preferred move. Now, what do we know about the fee? We know that they have to pay a fee. Manchester United are reportedly paying £1.2 million fixed plus bonuses depending on his professional appearances, and he'll complete his medical and sign his contract at the start of next week. Now, just some background on him, because I've seen so much about what kind of player is he? What kind of talent is United getting? Is he can we not, by the way, just compare, just because he's from Africa, can we just not say that he's the next Yaya Toure or he's the next N'Golo Kante? Like, I don't get it. The first thing I saw yesterday when they announced it, when this was announced by Fabrizio, by the way, it came out of nowhere, he's the next Kante or he's the next Yaya Toure. Anyways, what do we know about him? I can't believe I'm at an age now, guys, where people born in 2006 are coming to play for Manchester United. You know, that is crazy to me. 2006, my niece was born, and to me, she's a child. She's not a child, she's 18, but in my eyes, she's a child. So now to see that Man United are signing players of that age group, I'm just like, bro, I'm old. I am old. But anyways, comparisons of what kind of player he is. I think the biggest player that I've seen him compared to is either Essien. Someone just said it in the chat. But also I've seen comparisons to Amadou Onana, which if you're being compared to the likes of Essien, that is big shoes. That is absolutely big shoes to fill, because Essien on his day, I don't even need to say on his day, because I absolutely hated him when Man United played up against Chelsea, but he was a ridiculous player. Will he start with the academy? Yes, he will. That's the goal, is to get him into the under-21s reportedly. So he'll probably spend a season with the under-21s, and don't be surprised, we might see him pre-season next year. We might see him pre-season. But what are his strengths? He's got a lot of strengths. Mobility is one of them. We're tired of having DMs that are not mobile. Mobility, 1. Work rate, 1. I don't think that these are real attributes, but work rate is an attribute. The biggest, what I've seen from watching a lot of stuff, is tackling. interceptions, ball recovery. His positional awareness for his age is great. He helped Mali go toe-to-toe with every team in the under-20s World Cup as a 17-year-old. And apparently that's when he came on Manchester United's radar. He's press resistant. He has the ability to retain possession, aggressive, has good ball control, everything that you would want in a DM. He's slim and he's tall, so I don't know if that's going to be an issue. I don't really know if that's going to be an issue of if they need him to bulk up. Now, his shortcomings is long range passing. But if you got people that are able to pass long range, I don't think that's really too much of a shortcoming. He could play in a double pivot, in a two-man role as a box-to-box midfielder, and he can play as a defensive midfielder. I think that is down to the fact that he has great positioning. He has composure under pressure. You know, he's able to win the ball back in possession, be aggressive with it. His ball retention is really good. And in transition, he excels in kind of progressing the ball and getting it forward. But if you're playing next to Kobbie Mainoo, by the way, him and Kobbie are the same age. This could be the future of Manchester United's midfield. Minna, have you seen him? You haven't seen him play? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. If you watched the beginning of the stream, you would have seen me saying that I watched the Under-20s World Cup. And if you're saying that I didn't watch the Under-20s World Cup, I also watched the Under-17s AFCON last year as well. Go and check my tweets. That's all I have to say. But also, can I say, guys, there is no harm in anybody researching about Sekou Kone, watching footage of him, and coming to drawing an opinion on that. Don't be fooled by people like Luman, who we know is a troll in the chat. But don't be fooled by people that say, "Oh, you never watched him play." You didn't. I didn't. Okay, and what? Are you gonna arrest me? Arrest me now! Didn't you mention Kone a few streams ago? I did. I think I mentioned him ages ago, but that was as a young product. Like, I didn't think United would actually buy him. I actually didn't think United buy him. It's when we were talking ages ago about Mohamed Kamara and other African talents that had gone to like Salzburg, etc., etc. But that's just a little bit on him. Just a quick piece on Manchester United's kind of. This is how Man United are moving. This is how Manchester United are moving in the summer transfer window. They are poaching young talents. There's another kid in here that I'm missing his name. Crystal Palace player. Oh shit! Does anyone know the young Crystal Palace player that United are signing? Let me Google it quickly. It will come up. Samuel Lusau. Samuel Lusau. There you go. Here it is. Samuel Lusau. Another young talent. So Man United are signing three players. 3 young talents. I actually might go to under 21 games. Guys, I'm not joking. I actually might go watch them because I'm very, very excited to see. Could this possibly be, by the way, next season or the season after, where we see 3 players come through Man United's academy? When you consider people like Harry Amas, you consider people like Toby Collier coming into the first team, haven't really solidified a spot. But Manchester United have clearly changed their approach to academy players. Let me know what you lot think about this, because we actually spoke about it when Man United first announced they were signing Christopher Vivell. We spoke about his way of signing people. We're not going to talk about his time at Chelsea because Chelsea is a sinking ship. But we're going to talk about his time at Salzburg, at Leipzig, etc. And we spoke about how they had their approach to signing young academy players at Salzburg, moving them on to Leipzig, and then selling them on to great teams in Europe, big teams in Europe. And maybe Manchester United are not having that approach where they're buying to sell, but maybe they're having an approach where they're buying to save having to spend in big areas in a couple of seasons. Now, this is a very good kind of approach to have, because you're looking at this Ugarte saga, and we're going to get to that because, boy, this saga is never ending. This is a never-ending saga. But if Man United are signing Sekou Kone and they have him, say, 2 years in the academy, etc., under 21 games, seriously, looking for a husband, surely. Don't say that. What? So I can't watch academy games? You can't go and watch academy because I watch women's. I watch under 21s women games. I go and watch girls in tournaments in my area when there's charity tournaments. Come on, man. Don't make those jokes in the chat. Don't make those jokes in the chat. That's a dead joke. That's a dead joke. You know what? I'm not gonna put you on timeout, but don't make those jokes. The under 21. Do you know how old I am? Talking about finding a husband at under. Don't do that. Why do I need to find a husband anyways? I don't need one. But back to football, because we're sticking to football. We also signed Mexes. Exactly. We signed. Man United have signed. Should we include these players when we talk about Man United's transfer window, or is academy players kind of a separate transfer window? Is that a separate transfer window? But I think the way that I see it is Man United signing Sekou Kone and then going on to sign Ugarte, for example. Could this be the future of Manchester United's midfield with Kobe, with Kone, and eventually maybe Ugarte will end up leaving? And I'm talking about Ugarte like he's even flipping arrived. But anyways, on the topic of, all right, before we move on from this, rate this transfer out of 10. Rate this transfer out of 10. Sekou Kone for 1.2 million, if you want to be mathematically correct. 1.2 million. And what else? They're going to slowly integrate him into the under 21s before they bring him through eventually to the first team. How do we rate this? Bear in mind, United missed out on signing someone like Caicedo when he was in South America. Manchester United have missed out on signing quite a few academy players at a young age. I mean, you threw everyone off when you asked how old you are. Now everyone is wondering. I'm going to let people keep wondering. 7 out of 10. Yusuf says 10 out of 10. Sonny says 8 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Only time will tell. Kone will be worth 100 million. That could be a hot take. Joe says 8 out of 10. Big up to Joe. Big up to Lil Yo-Yo says 8 out of 10. Owen says 6 out of 10. Damn. 8 out of 10. So I'm seeing the 7s, the 8s, the 9s. You lot are still trying to guess my age in the chat. You lot are far off. You lot are saying 33, 31. I saw someone say 38. Come on, guys. Come on. 6.5. Yeah, I'm seeing a range of 7s and 8s and 9s. I guess only time will tell how good this transfer is. I feel like with academy players, it's harder to rate what a transfer is out of 10, because what are we rating? Are we rating like the potential that he has to be? Because if we were to rate like a Delit, we know what we're getting with Delit. You lot are mad. I'm seeing people say 26, 22. I wish I was 22. I wish I was still 22. But let's get on to some more Manchester United news. And we're actually, before we start with the actual transfer news, we're going to start with what Erik ten Hag said. About Jadon Sancho in his pre-match press conference. And then we're going to get to the news or the talk about paper talk, if you want to say, about potentially him leaving Manchester United. Now, Erik ten Hag said yesterday in his pre-match press conference about whether Jadon Sancho will be in the squad or not. So this is not even about whether Sancho will start. This is whether he will be in the squad. Bear in mind, guys, can I just say, this is why I'm a bit confused about this. Because if Jadon Sancho was out last week because of an ear infection, shouldn't he just be, if he's well again and he's healthy again, shouldn't he just be back into the matchday squad? Like, am I the only one that is just a bit confused about this whole debacle, about how it's kind of panning out? If Jadon Sancho only had an ear infection and that was it, then surely he would be back into the squad. I'm not saying he has to start, but surely he'd be back into the squad, because last week he was only out of it because he was unwell. I guess it. All right, guys, we'll let the age thing go, okay? I'll tell you lot my next birthday. I'll tell you what age I am there. But some people in the chat know. Some people have said the right age. And some people have said the right age. But anyways, back to, obviously, Jadon Sancho. Erik ten Hag said about him being in the potential squad to face Brighton. he said, we will see. We have a squad, and I hope we will have a squad with double positioning. And when we go into the season after September 1st, which is obviously after the transfer window, he said that means you can't select all the players, but you need them all throughout the season. We have to manage it. The attitude of the players is very important, and sometimes they will be disappointed. They have to deal with it. You win as a squad. The prizes are decided next May, and until then, we need all the players in the squad highly motivated, and that is not an expectation. That is a demand on the squad. Which I hear it. And big up to Nubian Pharaoh, just came through with the big super chat. That is a serious super chat, guys. W's in the chat. And now you can actually like what's it called? You can actually like messages, super chats. You can like super chats. So make sure you lot hit like. And big up to Nubian. I appreciate the contribution, man. Thank you so much. A proper legend on UV, and now he's a legend here. Big up to Nubian. But this Sancho debacle has to end. It has to end. And it has to end this summer transfer window, because I do not understand. It's very clear to me Jadon Sancho probably wants to leave United. And it's very obvious that United probably want him to leave, but are not getting the offers. Do you think, and just say yes or no in the chat, do you think that Man United need to take a pay cut, a salary cut, to get Jadon Sancho out the door? Do they need to be like, you know what, we will pay your salary and we will take a cut in transfers, just leave the club? Because surely at this point it's unhealthy for both the player and the team. Surely it is. Surely this 1 minute Jadon Sancho is part of pre-season. Next minute we're being told that there's no certainty he'll be in the squad, let alone the starting 11. We're being told there's no certainty of him being in the squad. Next minute, we're hearing, we need 2 players in each position, but if the players ain't got the right attitude when they're disappointed that I don't select them, then, it's a demand that we have. Like, it's just not making sense. It's just not making sense. And then on top of that, we know PSG have been interested in him, but nothing there. We know Dortmund were interested in him, nothing there. We heard talk about Chelsea, but it looks like Juve are considering a loan with an obligation to buy for 40 million with certain conditions for winger Jadon Sancho. But the only thing holding them back is the wages. Now, he's probably one of the highest. I think he's one of the highest earners at Manchester United. He's, I think, like top 4 or top 5. Man United need to accept their shortcomings when it came to the previous regime. And unfortunately, this current regime at Manchester, I'm saying regime like it's a flipping like this, it's like a dictatorship. But this current regime or this current ownership in place right now, they have to swallow the L's for the previous ownership's shortcomings and the previous ownership's problems. It's as simple as that. And they've already done that in some aspects when it comes to like selling certain players, etc. But Jadon Sancho is something that I've never seen. Like, I've never seen this. I've actually never seen something like this where you don't know. As fans, we don't know when Nubian needs to buy out the Glazers. He needs to. He does. Shout out Nubian Pharaoh. But honestly, guys, I don't know as a fan where Jadon Sancho stands in the team right now. So the question mark I have is, why did him and Erik Ten Hag make up? And me, you lot know I love a good conspiracy, right? I love a good conspiracy theory. I think they made up for image. I actually think him coming back into training, and the reason why Erik Ten Hag is not speaking about, they're not speaking about whether he apologized. They're not speaking about anything. The first question he was asked when Jadon Sancho returned to training and they were heading off for preseason, he was asked about whether Sancho apologized or whether he apologized to Sancho, and he basically swept it on the carpet and he said, "It's over now. The door is shut. I don't need to tell you guys any of that. I don't need to tell you any of that." And I just don't get it. I genuinely think they made up because this new ownership in place and the CEO and Dan Ashworth and all of them realized no one is going to buy Jadon Sancho for 40 million if they continue to think that him and the manager are on bad terms. And because clubs will come to Manchester United, say Juve come, right, today. They come, all of that stuff. And they say, oh, we're paying 20 million for Jadon Sancho because you lot don't even want him. The manager don't even want him. Him and the manager are not even in good terms. He hasn't trained all of preseason, etc., etc. Man United know they get the short end of the stick with that. So clearly they must have got them to make up for image, with the expectation that they'll be able to sell him. The biggest issue obviously is his wages. What would you guys do? Because I think Erik ten Hag's comments in his pre-game presser is very obvious that he's not from time his place in the squad. Listen, Anthony can get into the matchday squad. Anthony can get into the matchday squad. And you're telling me Jadon Sancho can't? There's clearly something going on behind closed doors. So why is it not just best for both people to just part ways? Why is it just not best? I'm seeing numbers coming out when Fabrizio Romano reports about Sancho. He's saying it's 60-40 whether he will stay or not. It's 60-40 whether he will stay or not. But it's very evident for me that the manager does not want Jadon Sancho at the club. And it's very evident that Man United are listening to offers for him. If it wasn't for his salary, I'm telling you lot, if he was on 100k, he would have been on the first bike. He would have been on the first bike, the first train, the first plane out of Manchester. They would have sold him. So I'm not buying this idea that Jadon Sancho is not good enough to not be in the matchday squad. And that is probably, maybe I'm overanalyzing what Erik ten Hag said. They didn't make up his business. Facts. Sometimes, yeah, it's not personal. Sometimes it's just business. It's just business. And Ineos probably said to Erik ten Hag, listen, you got to hold this L. You got to hold this L. You've stayed firm on your choice and your opinion, but you need to hold this L. This guy's coming back into training, and you're gonna. It's not personal. It's just business. It's just business. And Erik ten Hag clearly understands the business side of football. And Jadon Sancho, they probably said the same thing to him. I think what kind of confirmed to me that they're still kind of on unusual terms is Community Shield when he was getting ready to come on and Erik ten Hag wanted to celebrate and he looked to his left. It looked like he was about to grab the player that was next to him, and then he was Sancho, and then he just face emotion gone. It's very unfortunate. Like, for me, and I'm going to clarify my point on this Sancho ten Hag thing. I am not on either side. I am not on either side. I just want a solution to this, because for me, this has dragged on for way too long. It's been nearly a year, guys. It's been nearly a year. Do you think Sancho missed that penalty on purpose? No, I don't think any player would go as low to miss a penalty on purpose. I don't think so. I just think Sancho was maybe just low on motivation. I think when he stepped up for the penalty, I said I was with some people at the game, and I was like, yeah, he's gonna miss because he just looks low on confidence. That's it. The Sancho that we saw a couple months ago at Dortmund versus the Sancho I'm seeing now is two different Sanchos. It's two different Sanchos, and for me, it's just very obvious that both they should just part ways. And not only should they part ways, one of them have to take an L. Whether it's Man United taking an L and paying him out of his wages, or Jadon Sancho taking an L and taking a pay cut. One of them have to pay an L. And maybe that's where the showdown is happening. Because outside of PSG, I don't think anyone else can afford his salary. Juve can definitely not afford his salary. I don't think they even pay people that much money. Let me see what Juve's salaries is like. I'm very curious to see what their salaries are like. Who's the highest earning player? And obviously that's in euro. It's in euros. Let me see in GBP. So yeah. So you know what the highest paid player is? Vlahovic is the highest paid player at Juve, right? And he's on 360 a week. And do you know who's the second highest player? Szczesny, who's obviously leaving Juve now, but he's on 190. And after that is Chiesa, who's also being pushed out of Juve, 150. Do you see the gap between Vlahovic and the second highest player? The highest paid player, sorry. There's nearly a 200k gap between them. 150, 200k gap. That is a huge gap. So Juve are not clearly a team that pay them kind of salaries. Is very, very obvious. But for me, I think it's very clear that Sancho is not gonna be part of the team. And I think Erik ten Hag every week will come to presses and people will ask, media will ask, United could beat Brighton tomorrow 5-0, hypothetically speaking, right? And if Jadon Sancho is not in the matchday squad, that will be the first question that's asked in the press conference. Why was Sancho not in the matchday squad? And Erik ten Hag will say something like, oh, it's competitive. We need people that are highly motivated, blah, blah, blah. Again, it's just going to be a debacle. It'll just be a debacle. So as much as Manuel Ugarte coming in through the door is important, I think getting Jadon Sancho out of the door is equally important for both the player and the club. And for me, it's very unfortunate because I don't think we ever got to see the best parts of Jadon Sancho, and I don't think Jadon Sancho ever really got the chance to show the best parts of him. Personally, I don't really think, like, I think the times that he was playing good, especially in like the early stages of Erik ten Hag's first season, he never really got that consistent chance to play consistently. Honest opinion, Sancho will be best at Man City. I don't think so. Unless I think Jadon Sancho thrives in a team where he can express himself. He's not a system player. I don't think Jadon Sancho is a system player. You lot might disagree with me, but I think Jadon Sancho best succeeds, especially in attacks, where he can express himself and be free to express himself. Football is art. Yeah, football is a form of art. It's an expressive form of art. So the way that players play is a way of them expressing themselves. And Jadon Sancho, or a player like Jadon Sancho, playing in a system that requires him to, I don't know, what's the best way to play inverted, or to beat his man, or do this or do that, things that he clearly doesn't excel in. It's just, it's right now, Man United have a system that they're trying to implement, and they got a player like Jadon Sancho that just doesn't fit into that system that they want to implement. That doesn't mean Jadon Sancho is a bad player, and that does not mean that the system is bad. It just means it don't work. That's it. Sancho doesn't know the privileged position he is. Does he realize his 75 million plus 150 million over 5 years, that cost can feed and put through many kids through school? This guy, come on, man, it's football. We don't need to do that. Would you rather keep Sancho over Antony though? 100%. 100%. Who are you guys keeping? Who would you? Did you just say United have a system? No, I said United are trying to implement a system under Erik ten Hag. They haven't implemented it yet, but you cannot tell me that United are not trying to implement a system. We've seen it in the pre-season. We've seen it in the first game. Hopefully we'll see it tomorrow. It's not been consistently successful, but it's very evident for me that Man United are trying to implement a system. But go on, guys. Let's answer Show's question before we move on to the next topic. Sancho over Antony. I'm keeping Sancho. I am keeping Sancho. But then again, I can argue and say, well, Sancho is the better player out of the two of them. Who's more likely to play under Erik ten Hag? Can you believe between the two of them, they cost United over 150 million? Can you believe that? They cost Man United over what? Like 160, I think it is? I think it's like 75 plus like nearly 90 mil. Yeah, it's about 160. Oh, you said would rather keep Sancho. I thought you said would you rather. My bad. I would definitely, I don't know. I'm seeing a mix. I'm seeing a mix of answers right now. I'm seeing people mentioning attributes like the defensive work rate. Sancho and Antony. Yeah, who would you keep out of the two? Any South African here right now? Shout out to all my South Africans. I'm keeping Antony. He's had a bigger impact in big games. Oof. Sancho isn't better than Ethan Ennis. That is harsh. Antony runs, Sancho sulks. You lot are saying Antony has defensive contributions. Sancho is more talented but hasn't shown it at United. I agree with that. Antony can defend. Sancho can't do shit. Sancho over Antony. I won't choose this or that player. They wear United red. I want them to do the very best they can do. I hear it. That's very valid. Let me poll it. Let me quickly do a poll in the chat. I need to end this other poll. All right, what we're gonna do is put this poll in, and then at the end of the show we'll look at it. Who would you rather keep? Big up Born Vex in the chat. Who would you rather keep? Sancho, Antony. Let's go. Let's run this poll, and then we're gonna revisit this poll at the end so that we can see it, so we can see what the results are. Because I thought it would be Sancho. I really thought everyone would say Sancho. I don't know. But then again, my reasoning is I'm looking at the technical ability going forward. I'm not rating a winger. Like, since when do we rate wingers based on what they do defensively? I don't know. Obviously you rate a player for their defensive work, but since when is that more higher than what they do going forward? You're a forward. Contribute to the forward line. Obviously, it's an additional asset, your defensive side. It's like saying, oh, he's a striker. He can't score goals, but at least he can drop deep and defend. Brother, your position is to score. You are a striker. Score goals, create chances, get assists. Don't tell me that, oh, this person's a good forward because they defend. Come on, let's do that. And let's not do that. Scott McTominay, I think he's not leaving, guys. I really think he's not leaving. Like, Sky Sports reporting today that Napoli remain interested in doing a deal for Scott McTominay. However, what I will say is they've just signed Billy Gilmour. Napoli have just signed Billy Gilmour for around the same fee of, I think it's even less than what United want for Scott McTominay. And they're also looking at possibly signing Sufyan Amrabat. Now, if they do sign Sufyan Amrabat, that is a blow for Man United in two aspects. That's a blow, number one, because they won't sign Scott McTominay. And two, that's a blow because Sufyan Amrabat was a player that United were looking at if the Ugarte deal did not work out. So if they do get him, it might be 2 L's for Man United. But I'm saying this, I said this a few days ago on stream, guys, and I'm saying this again today. Scott McTominay is going to stay. At the end of the transfer window, he will still be here and he will get a new contract. Honestly, I'm not, and let's be clear here. Let's be clear, because obviously things get lost in translation. This is not me saying he deserves a new contract, but I'm thinking of what Manchester United will do and how it looks like right now. This is second summer in a row. This is the second summer in a row that Manchester United have failed to sell Scott McTominay. Now, last year, the argument was that I think it was wages between him and West Ham. That was the issue. Now, he's holding out for the best bid. Now, one thing about Napoli, if you are not keeping up with the Napoli saga, Conte is losing his mind at Napoli, yeah, because they cannot sell Victor Osimhen. They're struggling to get the valuation for him or someone to pay his release clause, and without selling him, their whole transfer budget basically relies on Victor Osimhen leaving. They can't sell Lukaku right now. They're trying to buy him, I think, for 25 million. They can't buy him. They've just about freed up funds to buy Billy Gilmour. They still haven't signed another midfielder. This Scott McTominay saga is continuing. Who would you rather, Mount or Scott McTominay? That's a good point. Oh my God. It's not a good point, because I think when you talk about what player would you rather have, are we talking about what the player offers or who is the better player? That is my question to you lot. When we talk about which player versus which player, are we talking about what the player offers Man United, or are we talking about just solely based on who is the better player? Because I'm not going to lie, and you lot might butcher me for this. Mason Mount works more in Erik Ten Hag's system than Scott McTominay would. Scott McTominay, for me, does not work in Erik Ten Hag's system, or the system that they're trying to build, right? Because for me, Scott McTominay under Erik Ten Hag thrives in chaos. When you bring Scott McTominay on, you're asking for chaotic football. You are asking for ping pong, up and down, basketball type football. That's what we're asking for. We're asking for a vacated midfield. We're asking for a player that can't press. We're asking for a player that can't pass. We're asking for a player to just go and get in the box and crash the box. That is chaotic football. Chaotic football is not sustainable. It's not maintainable, and it can't work, right? But on the flip side, Mason Mount, and this is where I'm in two parts, because I talk about it all the time with like my cousins and that they're United fans as well, and we talk about what Mason Mount does and what he doesn't do, etc. But the way that United, I think, watching preseason in the first game, how they were pressing under Erik ten Hag and what the pressing structure looked like. It looked like Mount was more important to that than Scott McTominay's role when he came on in the latter stages of the second half for United. Now, I don't know what has happened to Mason Mount since he's joined Man United, or maybe his last season at Chelsea. I do not know what has happened in terms of he went from being a player that was always on the ball to now being a player that's never on the ball. And when he is on the ball, he looks very unconvincing. I don't know if that's the system, it's the system that he's in. But can I just say system football has ruined football? Like having systems, and Pep is you are the cause of all of this. Pep Guardiola and system football has ruined football. It's harsh to blame Pep because you go back to like the Spanish national team, etc. It is harsh for me to say it's Pep's fault. But system football has ruined players because you're looking at players that are clearly good players, but because they're not working in a system, we think they're crap. Mount was crap on the ball at Chelsea. Asks Chelsea fans. Ramadan, I think Ramadan is a Chelsea fan. Big up Ramadan, says Tuchel turned him into a right winger that killed him. And then I'm seeing in the same breath United fans saying we should play Mason Mount at right wing. He can be an option at right wing. To me, he don't look like a right winger. He never looked like a right winger, even when he was at Chelsea. So that's my opinion. That's my opinion on that. Let's get to Manuel Ugarte. Because the different stories I've heard in the last 36 hours has blown my mind. 1 minute I'm seeing United have agreed 60 million. Next minute I'm hearing that United have agreed a loan with an obligation to buy. Next thing I'm seeing, United want a loan with an option to buy, but PSG don't want it. But one thing I have seen, and that was on Duncan Castle's podcast. If you lot didn't listen to it, it's called Transfer something. I forgot what it's called. It was talking about the biggest issue with this is not the fact that PSG are staying stubborn with their price tag of 60 million. It's not because of that. This is so mean. Terrence, that is mean, bro. Come on, don't do that. But anyways, reportedly, it's not because of the fact that PSG are staying stubborn or staying firm with the 60 million price tag. Apparently, there's a bit of a bitterness on Qatar's end about Ineos versus Qatar when it came to Man United's being sold. Apparently, that is what's holding up the move. Now, it's funny because obviously it was Sheikh Jassim that was interested in buying the club. And obviously Sheikh Jassim is independent from the Qatari ownership that owns PSG. But at the end of the day, if this is why it's taking so long to get this move done, this is ridiculous. Honestly, this is ridiculous. But Duncan Castle's kind of confirmed it. Let me actually bring up word for word what he said. So it's called the Transfers Podcast. That's what it's called. He drops it quite often. And he speaks about a lot of things. And he basically he said it was about a battle of egos. It was a battle of egos between Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Nasser Al-Khalifi. Now, one thing I will say, guys, is from a perspective of knowing people who are of Arab descent and Qatari descent, etc., etc. Stubbornness, I'm not surprised there's a stubbornness. I'm not surprised, right? And I'm not surprised that has trickled through into business, right? But he basically said, Duncan Castle basically said that because of the way that Ineos spoke about the way that they spoke about the Qatari ownership, that is making this deal a lot harder because there's a bit of bitterness on Qatar's end. Also, the fact that they weren't successful with buying Manchester United. But then you also look at that and think, isn't there meant to be like a segregation where we're not convinced, where we're not told that it was not state ownership and Sheikh Jassim was independent of the Qatari state, etc., etc. It is kind of funny. It is kind of funny. Personally, I am tired about this Ugarte saga. Can we get past deadline day already? You know what? I actually think Sunday, Monday, we might get something. Even maybe, I need to stop with predictions of when we get news. I need to stop with the predictions of when we get news because I just make up a lot of predictions and they go wrong all the time. But I would like Man United to get the deal done personally Sunday. Monday medical, Tuesday announced. Have enough time to register him, at least 2-3 sessions with the team. Bam, Liverpool Sunday. Like, personally, that is my ideal kind of way of this all going. But life's not ideal in it, and you don't always get what you want. You don't always get what you want. But I do definitely think that I don't also like the way that this Ugarte stuff has been reported by like the media, because there's no news. It's fine to say that there's no news. It's fine to say that there's just negotiations still going on. We don't need to keep going. We don't need to keep saying, I've been seeing he's dying, not dying, but like he's burning to join. Like, since when was that any news? We do know, by the way, one thing we do know about Manuel Ugarte is that he's not in their matchday squad this weekend either. He's not in PSG's matchday squad. And we do also know that he was never a preference of Luis Enrique. He joined the team, I think, before Luis Enrique came in officially. But if that is, it's funny. Game is the game. Engagement. It's true. The game is the game. It's true. I can't complain about that. I can't complain about that. But when do you lot think the move will get done? When do you lot think the move will get done for Manuel Ugarte? I'm sticking to Monday. Maybe Sunday night, Monday. I'm hoping that like before deadline day that he's a Man United player, because United got a big game against Liverpool. And it does seem, from the news that we're seeing, it does seem that they are edging closer to a deal being finalized. It does look like that from all the reports I've seen, the podcasts I've listened to. And to be honest, at the end of the day, no one really knows. But from what everything kind of corroborates and suggests, that it's just crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and all of those formalities. I think what is possibly holding this back is the way that Manchester United possibly want to pay. I think that is what might be holding it back. You lot said deadline day, end of the transfer window, next Tuesday. I'm hoping like Sunday we get, here we go, Monday medical done. Because bear in mind, we've had a quick turnaround with pretty much, we've had a quick turnaround with pretty much every single player. From when we get the here we go, the medical's always the next day, announcement the day after that. That's what we've had with Delit, Mazraoui, Yoro, Xerxes. So I'm hoping that will be the same. And especially because he needs to be registered. If he's playing Sunday, I think he needs to be registered by Thursday with the Premier League, or Friday, which is obviously deadline day. What's the deal? Is it loan or permanent? We don't know. Now, one thing I've seen that is kind of consistent is that PSG do not want a loan. They don't want no loan with no obligation to buy. They don't even care about the obligation to buy. They just want to sell him. And it's very clear that they just want him off the books. That's it. And I think the other side of Manchester United's side is they want to buy him, but they want to pay in the way that they want to pay. We're broke. We're poor, guys. We are poor. Like Man United making 75 million or so in sales. That's including add-ons. That's probably what they are trying to pay in annual installments for their transfers. That's probably what they want to do. In the same way, by the way, guys, I mentioned this a few days ago on the stream, but I know now why PSG want 60 million. 60 million is what they paid for him. That was the release clause they paid. But also, I get why they want that. Because when they agreed the release clause with Sporting, they agreed that they would start paying the following summer in 5-year installments. So 60 million euros or 51 million pounds, if you want to say that, let's say pounds, 51 million pounds they are paying across 5 years starting this summer, which means this summer they've already paid their first installment of the release clause. Why would they then want to sell to Manchester United for less than that, knowing that they still have to pay this release clause to the 1-year payment to Sporting? They're making a loss. So the way that PSG are trying to do business is they just want to cover all bases. And additionally, guys, if they can get near enough to more than 10 million upfront every year, that would be ideal for them from Manchester United. If they can get, say they manage to agree 3 years, 3-year payments of 60 million euros, 51 million pounds, that works out to be what, 16-ish, 15-ish, give or take million pounds every year. That is more than what in the time that they'll be paying to Sporting. In the year, that's more than what they will be paying to Sporting. Across the period, it's the same amount. And maybe that's what they're trying to negotiate. That's what I think is taking the longest part. Because one thing I've realized with United is that this summer transfer window, they look like they're adamant to pay stuff in installments. Like, they were happy to pay more for Joshua Zirkzee than his release clause, just so that they could pay in installments. What I don't get is we've drawn this out only to pay the 60 million anyway, but just next summer. No, but don't you think? I think if United buy him this summer, I think it's going to be with 3 or so years payments, of paying it across 3 years. I think if they get him on a loan with an obligation to buy, they will get him next summer. But by next summer, can I say Manchester United will be in a much better place financially and from an FFP perspective that they could possibly afford to pay that 30, 40 million, whatever it is, upfront next summer. I think they'll be in a much better place. I think Man United's plans this summer has been clearly for them to put themselves in the right place. So in the next 2 summer transfer windows, from an FFP and financial perspective, they will be a lot better off. Right now, they're pinching pennies. They are really pinching pennies. They're trying to save costs. They're cutting costs everywhere. Security staff and match day staff at Old Trafford will no longer get a lunchbox every day at work. I used to work when I was 17 years old, guys. I worked in football stadiums. Yeah, I used to work in football stadiums, and you get a little packed lunch when you come to work. You get a sandwich, a crisp, a drink, and a chocolate. Manchester United have stopped doing that. They've stopped doing that. They've also cut a lot of other costs. Bro, Man United are trying to cut costs and save money in every possible way that they can. And I'm not surprised that they're kind of doing the same in this transfer window. Now, I saw this, which was kind of interesting, which kind of compared Ugarte and Casemiro. I don't know if this is fair, because it is based on per 90, right? It is based on per 90 minutes. But obviously, he's playing a lot less than what Casemiro was playing last season. And reportedly, Manchester United look at Ugarte as the starter and Casemiro to be the backup option. I don't know in what world you pay a backup option 350k a week. That don't work like that. That's equally not me saying that he should be a starter. But if you wanted a backup option, maybe you should have got Casemiro out of the door and save some money and get a cheaper alternative. Because why are you saving money by cutting people's lunch costs, but in the same breath you're paying someone 350k to be a backup option? It just doesn't really, that side doesn't make sense to me personally. But before we wrap it up, let me just quickly check if there's any new news. There's not really any new news. There's not really any new news. So let's get to the last part of the stream, which is obviously a preview for tomorrow's game. Let's start with starting up top, because I think that is the biggest conversation of who's starting up top. I think a lot of the other sides, you know, the back line, etc., I think it might stay similar to the previous game. Laurie Whitwell tweeted. Let's see what Laurie Whitwell tweeted on Sancho. Oh, Juve are in talks with Man United over a Jadon Sancho move. United, let me bring up the article actually, because I'm a good you guys. I got a athletic subscription. You can get athletic subscription for £1 a month, guys, if anybody's ever considered it. Juventus, and this 13 minutes ago, Juventus are in talks with Jadon Sancho, with Manchester United for a move for Jadon Sancho. Let's see what this kind of says. Juve are in talks with Manchester United over a move for Jadon Sancho, although finding a financial agreement that satisfies all parties is expected to be difficult. Sancho has been available all summer, with United looking for 40 million, but so far no suitors have shown willingness to match that. So what do we know about what Juve are doing? So apparently Juve have stepped up communications with United as deadline day approaches and are currently seen as the likeliest destination should Sancho depart. Juve want to sign 2 wingers between now and the end of the window. They are in for Nico Gonzalez, who Fiorentina left out of the squad for their Conference League game, and they are now deciding on a second target. Now, the Italian side were interested in Sancho in January, but the manager Allegri rode back from a pursuit because he did not see Sancho working in a 3-5-2 system. Sancho ended up going to Dortmund on loan. Interesting. So this is a little bit of details about his thing, but essentially Here it is. Sancho, by the way, was left out of United squad for the opening game against Fulham. Erik ten Hag stated an ear infection played some part, but ultimately it was a selection call. Here we go. Here we go, guys. We've got the confirmation. It wasn't because of this. He's basically saying it wasn't solely because of an ear infection, but it was a selection call. One source around United, speaking on the condition of anonymous to be anonymous to protect relationships, says Sancho had reacted to the decision by reaffirming his decision to leave. Sancho did mix normally with teammates in the the Old Trafford dressing room before kickoff, but he was not seen watching the game alongside Højlund, Euro, and Tom Heaton in the director's box. This kind of, again, if we go back 30 minutes ago in the stream, it kind of confirms what we were talking about. It was a selection call. Damn. So then they go into detail about, obviously, what we were talking about, what Ten Hag said. And basically what I was saying, it doesn't make any sense why he was asked in this game, before Brighton game, he was asked in the presser about Sancho being involved in the matchday squad. And not even about the starting lineup. And he made up a whole heap of excuses about him being, having to be professional and, to basically take an L. If a player had an ear infection, and I said this before, guys, if a player had an ear infection, right, and he's out because of an ear infection, he should easily be back in the matchday squad the following week. Easily, without a doubt, he should be back in the matchday squad, right? But that wasn't the case. That was not the case. And this has kind of confirmed it. For me, I just want this saga to end, bro. I just want this saga to end. Do you know how many Sancho shirts I got, guys? I should go to my cupboard right now and bring them out. I got like 5 Jadon Sancho shirts. I got 5 Jadon Sancho shirts. I even had one. I was wearing it the other day on the stream. Big up Minna, thanks for the updates. Cannot wait to see the back of Sancho. Wish him all the best on a personal level, but I don't want him anywhere near our club. I hear it, man. Big up, man. I appreciate it. Guys, be sure to hit the like button. Where are we on likes? Are we part? All right, we're good with likes. Just keep hitting the like button if you haven't. Shameless Minna. No, I've learned my mistake, guys. You lot know I've learned I've learned my mistake from buying shirts of players' names. They never succeed at United, so I need to stop doing that. Sekou Kone, though, bro, I'm onto you. When he gets a shirt for United, I might have to cop that. She got more Sancho shirts than Sancho. Now, listen, I want Sancho to do well. I really want him to do well, but this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good on neither him or the manager. Personally, this doesn't look good. Because and maybe it's because Erik ten Hag, do you think he learned his mistake of last time talking about Sancho in public by saying, this is why I left him out of the matchday squad? It's easier to just say, he's got an ear infection. But then next week, the following week, you've set yourself up in the press conference. Who else has Solanke and FPL? Take him out, guys. If you've got quickly on some FPL talk, if you've got Solanke, take him out because he is out this weekend. I had to take him out. And I didn't even want to waste my 1 free transfer on him. I was going to bring in someone else, but I had to take him out. Who did I bring in? Did I bring in Kai Havertz? I can't remember. I brought in someone else. Let me see who I brought. I brought in another striker. Allah. I thought I did my transfer. Oh, I brought in Mateta. So Fabrizio retweeted also about the Jadon Sancho thing. So it looks like it's kind of true. It looks like he will definitely be leaving. He will definitely be leaving. I got 70 points first week. I got 68. Minna, do you have an FPL league? I forgot to refresh my FPL league, guys. I forgot to refresh it. My bad. But listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. I am now running late because this stream has ran 15 minutes over. And now I'm late for something that I need to go do. So make sure you lot hit the like button. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe. Welcome to the community. If you want to join the community and support the channel, you can by joining the Minions gang. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. Of course, you get to support the growth of the channel. If you want to support the channel in other ways, like my guy Nubian Pharaoh did, you can by hitting the super chat button. You can send in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or just to show some love. We do daily streams here on the channel, Daily Dose of Minna. And then tomorrow, straight after 2:30 p.m., straight after the game, we have what is the show called? Minna State of Mind. I forgot. Minutes state of mind straight after the game where we're going to assess and analyze the game. And then we continue with the daily streams throughout the transfer window. And then when the transfer window ends, we got to find a new way to mix it up. I'll probably do a call-in show on Sunday as well after all the games. So be sure to hit the like button, guys. I hope you have a... Oh, wait, predictions. Predictions, Brighton game. I might do a stream before the game at like 10 a.m. I might. There's no confirmation. I might. But quick predictions on the Brighton game. It's going to be a difficult one because Brighton have a lot of good players like Welbeck. They got Welbeck who just sometimes just turns up. They got Matoma. They got obviously two talents in Minter and Adingra. They've got way too many talents. And Manchester United are still kind of embedding their team and kind of integrating everyone. I think United could nick it. I think United could get a 2-1. I hope United could get a clean sheet personally, but talking about clean sheets, guys, did you not see David De Gea for Fiorentina yesterday? Did you guys see David De Gea for Fiorentina yesterday? Please tell me you lot saw, because that was so bad. You're telling me that's his first... Was that his first competitive game for Fiorentina? Because that was poor. That was poor. That goal he conceded from the corner to make it 3-3 in like the 88th minute. So bad. Big up Adam says 2-1. I'm saying 2-1 United. I'm saying 2-1 United. I think Joshua Zirkzee should start up top. I think Rashford might start. I think Ahmad will start. Bruno, Kobe, Cass, and then the back line, I think Delit and Mizraoui will come in. Didn't you guys see the game against for Fiorentina? He was bad. He was bad. The goals that he was conceding. He's conceded 5 shots on target. 3 of them were goals. Do you know how bad that was? 5 shots on target and 3 were goals. And one of the goals, it was just written like typical David De Gea goal. It was a corner in 6-yard box. He hesitates like to come out, and then he does that thing where he puts his arms like that, and the goal went in. And it was the 88th minute. They were winning 3-2. That was the 88th minute. It was bad. I think tomorrow could be a game, by the way. Let's get back to Brighton. I think tomorrow could be a game where it's either up and down, up and down, up and down, like it's basketball, or both teams are going to take turns to dominate the game. That's what I think it's going to be like. I think both teams are going to take time throughout the game, maybe 10 or 15-minute intervals where they dominate possession. For me, the most important thing is United must finish their chances. Like that, I cannot come here tomorrow and sit in front of you guys and talk again about the chances that United create and they don't put it to bed. If Ahmad gets chances, Rashford, Xerxes, even if United play a false 9 again, they need to take their chances 100%. And that is the most important thing. I think in midfield, it's going to be they need to eat their dinner. They need to finish their plate. Brighton in the league, United, Erik Ten Hag beat Brighton in the league for the first time at the end of last season, right? And that was the end of the season. United didn't even have a proper team. They didn't have a proper team. Now they have a proper team and they've had a proper pre-season. There's no reason why Man United cannot go and dominate Brighton. There's no reason. Now, obviously, Brighton themselves, they've got a new system or a new manager. So that is a hurdle. They played against Everton. I think everyone was judging them because of their opening fixture against Everton. But guys, no disrespect, but it's Everton. It was Everton. So no disrespect to Everton, but that's not... We shouldn't be threatened by Brighton. And I was saying this the other day, by the way. We give too much respect to opponents. Like we act like we are... Like when we talk about, we're playing Brighton, we speak about Man United as if Brighton are on the same level as Man United. No disrespect, but Man United should be the better team. They should be. Of course, history kind of shows that United have not been good against Brighton. They have not. But we give too much respect to people. I'm seeing people saying, but Welbeck, Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck is a decent footballer. But he's not a player that United should fear as a number 9. Because you're dead food. No, it's true. I hear it. But this is the thing. I'm trying to put this mentality back into fans and say, guys, we give too much respect to opponents. We should be confidently going to a game against Brighton and being like, we'll beat them. Obviously, history shows that it's not necessarily the case. What they did in Erik Ten Hag's first season, etc., etc. But for me, we need to stop being nice. We need to stop being nice. If Ramsdale joins another Prem club, he is a must-buy on FPL. He's going to Bournemouth. He's going to Bournemouth. I don't know if he's still a must-buy. Ramadan supports Chelsea, by the way. Same team who conceded 22 shots to... What? Is that the team name? Servette? That's mad. I just saw the... I didn't watch the Chelsea game, but I saw clips of the game and I saw the miss. Like, Gahey, is that his name? Gui? What's his name? Gui. I don't know what his name is, but I saw the miss that he had. I saw Mudryk just doing a madness. When Welbeck scores a hat, United fans blame Minna. Nah, listen, we need to be confident, guys. No more kind of bringing ourselves down. No more bringing ourselves down. We have to have faith in people like Licha, Delict, in our backline, that they can deal with this. Like, we need to be confident in that. We need to be confident in that. But listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. If you are watching this back, like I said, be sure to hit the like button. How far are we off from... We're five subscribers away from 5.9k, which means I could actually get to 6k before the end of the transfer window. And shout out to people like Saeed. He got to 100k yesterday. Shout out to Rance. He got to 100k, I think, last week. It's the road to 6k here, guys. So make sure you subscribe. And like I said, if there is any news between now and tomorrow's game, I will be live to talk about it. But if there is no news, I will be back tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Go and turn on your post notifications. The link is already live. So turn on your post notifications because I'll be live 2:30 p.m. after the game for Minna's State of Mind, hopefully off the back of another 3 points. But you guys know what it is. I hope you have a wonderful Friday afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it is, whatever time zone you're in. And I'll see you all tomorrow, guys. Peace.